Leadtionary 2023. Live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Hello there and welcome to another episode of Leadtionary. My name is Michael Obodu, your sitting host for today. I'm a business journalist with City FM and City TV. And today we are flipping the script a bit with the show. Today the host is the guest and it's quite an honor to be the one interviewing you today. You're welcome to your show.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Bishop.
Thank you, Michael. You're a fantastic person. I follow your news, and I think you're doing a great work. I think your potential is huge. You're a very high potential young person, and I think that the country is blessed to have you.
Very humble to hear that. Thank you so much. Now, for those who don't know who Bishop Titi-Ofei is, who are you?
Well, so basically I'll describe myself as a leadership person, somebody who is committed to the development of the next generation of leaders. The last 30 years or so, I have spent my life trying to discover young leaders, high potential young leaders, and helping them to develop their potential and to deploy their potential. My personal mission is to discover, develop, and deploy leaders from the church to the world and win leaders from the world to the church. This mission informs what I do. So I preside over a church. I believe that the pulpit is one of the major tools for dissemination of information and for the development of people. Myself, I was developed a lot. 90% of my decisions were based on the sermons I had preached from the pulpit. So I felt that the pulpit is going to be one of the major tools to help develop and build leaders. So I'm the presiding bishop of the Pleasant Place churches. And also, I also felt that another major way of trying to fulfill this mission is to set up a school. So I am the founding president, currently the chairman of Accra Business School, which is a Christian business school accredited by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. And we have global partnerships with world-class universities. We are basically a graduate business school. We are now this year introducing a number of undergraduate programs. So my whole life, and then we have a secondary school as well, the Temple Christian International School. So my whole life has been just focused on trying to build, develop young leaders. My mission is to create the next great leader.
Interesting. So clearly from what you've said, you are pastor and entrepreneur. How's that two going, juggling both?
Okay, so I'm more of an academic entrepreneur. My father said something. My father was also a minister of the gospel in the Methodist Church. He was a superintendent minister of the Methodist Church and a manager of Methodist schools. He said something. He said, if you want to be a good pastor, build churches, build schools, and build hospitals. Because the human being that you're dealing with, the spirit, soul, and body. Most pastors will focus just on the spirit. He said, don't do that. Don't limit yourself. Build the man holy, spirit, soul, and body. So I'm an academic entrepreneur. I invest into education, and that's why I have Accra Business School. It also allows me to be able to generate income to finance ministry as well. So for major part of my life, I have not depended on church for anything. I build my own houses, buy my own cars for myself, and all those things. So I think it's an emerging trend. There are a lot of pastors who are entrepreneurs themselves, but this is a personal conviction. It's not a general rule. The fact that a pastor is not an entrepreneur does not mean that I'm better than that pastor. But 80% of the things I do is just church. It's only 20% that focuses on my entrepreneurial ventures.
I see. Now, you have about over 30 years, 3 decades of experience in leadership. What has that journey been like?
I think that I'm a very positive person. And so I view challenges and everything as a project to work on. So I think that being a leadership student within that period of 30 years, I'm a lifelong leadership student, I'm a leadership educator, and I'm a leadership practitioner. There are people who are just leadership educators, who are not leadership practitioners. They have not led before. They have a different approach in trying to teach leadership. There are those who are just leadership students, who are just learning leadership to implement. And there are those who are just leadership practitioners. I am at all that three levels over the last 30 years. And it's been a very good journey for me. For me, being able to identify people who have leadership potentials and helping them to realize it is key. So the journey has been up and downs, but both up and downs have helped me to get to where I have gotten to. I started my leadership from SU days to I went to middle school. You probably went to JSS. But I went to where we used to have middle school. I was a school prefect when I was in middle school. And then when you go to middle school, you go to your secondary school very old. So I was in secondary school. I was 16 years old when I was in secondary school Form 1. I immediately became the class prefect and then went on to become a vice president of the scripture union of the school. And so I think naturally I have, by the grace of God, skills for leadership. And so right from the young age, among my friends, I always would emerge. They would defer to me on decision making and all those things. Then from there to the SUs, and then became home cell leader, and then moved on from there, became a youth pastor at 22. A youth pastor at 22. And I always feel I'm still a youth pastor. I enjoy talking to young people. I don't think I have a message for older people. I enjoy. So if you come to a Pleasant Place Church, it's more of young people's church, and I enjoy speaking a lot to young people. And then from there, became a principal of a Bible school under tree at the age of 26. And I only had a diploma in theology. But at that time, what the people needed, I had that diploma. The diploma could feed them, go running just certificate courses. So there's this Bible school under tree. I became a principal of the Bible school under that tree. And we went on, became a branch pastor. Then traveled a bit to Europe to study. I did my missionary training, in Germany. Did a few missions work across Europe, and then came back to Ghana to start the Pleasant Place Church of the Spinters Road here. It used to be the Sheepfold Chapel, and it's now the Pleasant Place Church. And so here I am. Then along the line, started the African Center for Leadership and Human Resource Development, AfriLead, in 2004 to offer quality, affordable, short-term training to people that are very busy to do regular education. And we felt that it was to fill a gap. And then we gave ourselves 7 years to become a university. And then we became the Graduate School of Governance and Leadership in 2010. And now we are Accra Business School. So my leadership journey has just been building people. But I came here to start a church, lived in an uncompleted building, no water, no electricity. So where we have a university now and we have all these, what we have here, actually, when I came here, I was a squatter, living in an uncompleted building, no electricity. So the last 20-something years I've been here, had been the test of my leadership character and my leadership charisma, from nowhere, no help, nothing. This is where we are now.
Interesting. Now, from all you've said, clearly leadership comes to you naturally. Would you say leadership is more of a talent as compared to a skill? Where do you stand?
I think it's both. I think that talent grows to become a skill. So I think that I believe So I have a youth organization. It's called Right to Lead. Right to Lead. Right to Lead. And I was inspired to form that organization because when my last two children were quite young, my wife had gone out and I left them for me and I was working. So I was with them in the living room. And whilst working, I was giving them instructions. Don't jump there. Don't touch this. Sit here. Read your book. Do your homework and all those things. And then I got very engrossed in what I was doing. So I forgot them. But subconsciously, I was listening to them. And then when my 6-year-old son realized that I had taken my eyes off them, I was no longer leading, she assumed leadership over her 4-year-old, over his 4-year-old sister. I just started hearing him saying, Titibia, Daddy says we shouldn't go there. Titibia, Daddy says we shouldn't touch that thing. Then whilst I was listening, the Lord said to me, you see, every human being has a leadership potential. It's just opportunities. It's just education. It's just development that can bring that. We may not all lead at the same level, but every human being has a leadership potential. And I believe that the commitment in developing it is key to your success. So you can grow your talent into a skill.
Very profound. So everybody can lead at some level.
Everybody can lead at some level. You are leading me now.
Interesting. So now my next question would be, what is your definition of leadership?
Well, I think that over the last 30 years, I have watched leaders. I've read a lot. I've related with leaders both from within the church and outside the church. I have spoken with leaders at the top level of leadership called the Big L leaders. And I have spoken with leaders at departmental levels that you can call the small L leaders. I've spoken with pastors that are leading tens of thousands of people, and I've spoken with pastors that are leading 2 people in their churches. I've spoken with leaders that are leading multinational organizations, and I've spoken with leaders that are selling on tabletop. On the basis of this, observing these people, I've come to realize that leadership is the ability to develop a vision, the capacity to define a mission. It must also have that ability to determine deadlines, defend your values, and devise strategies. So leadership is based on 5 key things: vision, mission, deadlines, which you may call objectives, values, and strategies. And anybody who says is a leader, I've seen the ability of these people taking these 5 things and using it to build organizations. They are able to develop visions for organizations or for a team or for a project team. They are able to define the mission for that organization or for that team. They are able to determine deadlines. They are able to defend their values, and they are able to devise strategies and able to influence people towards following these things.
Interesting. Let's zero in into the vision bit. Where do you start from with the vision?
Well, so vision begins with imagination. Sometimes it's just a thought running through your mind. It is always about the future. The greatest disability in leadership is mental blindness. Your inability to see by the mind. Your inability to visualize and see. The eyesight can only see perfectly 20 feet. Beyond 20 feet, the eyesight is not able to see perfectly. But the mind sight with your eyes closed can see 5 years from today. So vision begins from the mind. Your ability to see the future and create it is key. So vision is your desired future image captured by a camera in your mind, known as the mind sight.
So after formulating your vision, where do you go next from there?
I believe that vision, based on my experience and experience of people I've spoken with, I believe that there are 5 stages of vision. First, is the envisioning state. This is where you imagine. This is where you create a mental picture of your desired future image. The next is provision. Vision can be costly. You need people. You need logistics. This is where most young people get stuck, if for the lack of a better word. This is where most young people are not able to progress. They have the vision. They know where they want to go, but they lack the capacity to mobilize resources. And sometimes young people think big and want to start big. Thinking big is not a problem, but wanting to start big is a major problem. So, for instance, when I envisioned Accra Business School building a university, when I envisioned it, I had to mobilize resources. For me, the most important resources that I needed were people. And I could identify friends and family members who had the resources that I needed. There was a friend that borrowed me 500 Ghana cedis. At that time, I think it was 1 to 2, so it would be like $250 to start my first conference. I used 250 Ghana cedis to buy my first half-page black and white advert in the Ghana's biggest newspaper, the Daily Graphic. And then use 100 Ghana cedis, 150 Ghana cedis, I think so, to buy my first computer. It was called the Pentium 2 desktop computer. And they used the 100 Ghana cedis left for stationaries and other things. And was able to also negotiate, the ability to negotiate in mobilizing resources, to negotiate with the hotel to give me their venue for 3 days and then pay after.
Wow.
And I got that.
How did you persuade them to do that?
I mean, in mobilizing resources, you should be persuasive. You may not have the money, but you have the idea. How do you let that person believe in that idea? That if I'm able to give you a credit, your idea will sell for you to be able to generate the money to pay me back. So the hotel gave me a credit. And then I didn't have a telephone. So I told them, can you give me a desk here? So I use your telephone and people will call through here and other things. I was persuasive. I said, listen, the advert is in Daily Graphic and I'm bringing this. My first conference was for pastors on modern management for pastors. Modern management for pastors. So I think I got about 70 pastors attending the conference. When I finished, I was able to pay the hotel, pay the 500 Ghana cedis loan I took for 1 month. So I paid 150. Then when I finished, I paid all my bills and everything I had to pay. I was left with 1,600 Ghana cedis.
Fantastic.
Now Accra Business School is a multi-million-dollar business. But I started with a borrowed 500 Ghana cedis. You see, when you have a vision, you must have the capacity to mobilize resources. And the first point of call, as provision, when you are going to mobilize resources, are friends and family. And that is why you need to build very good relationship. And that is why you need to make sure that you are a family person. Don't disconnect from your father's people, your mother's people. You will always find one person somewhere who has what you are looking for, and you'll be able to get access to that at no cost to you. In fact, when we eventually became a university, it took friends. It took friends who were able to put themselves down, mobilize loans for me to buy our first building. It was a friend's building I bought, and they gave it to me at a very reasonable price. I was able to use my relational skills, social capital, to be able to mobilize the resources I was looking for. So I didn't get stuck at the provision level. From the provision level, once you start mobilizing resources and they start helping your vision to grow, you now have to make sure you have the right balance of skills to help you. So you go to division. So from envision to provision, now you go to division. Now you need to look for who can help you. What kind of people do I need to bring on board to help me push this vision? So people mobilization, skills mobilization, the right balance of people. Once you start bringing in people, you go to the next level of vision, which is supervision. You have to strengthen your leadership skills. You have to be able to monitor. You have to be able to control. You have to be able to ensure that people are doing the things that you engage them to do. You have to be able to motivate. You have to be able to provide direction, or else your vision will die. And then from there, you now have to go to the final stage of vision, and that is revision. You now have to do evaluation. You now have to see whether things are working, whether you are progressing the way you intended to progress. Then you have to now do what I call re-envisioning. At the level of re-envisioning, you are either having a positive spiral or a negative spiral. Because at the level of re-envisioning, you are now looking whether you are broadening your vision or narrowing your vision. Because you are now determining, did we start too big? Was the vision too big? That's why we couldn't attain it. So so you begin to have negative spiral. So you started big, but you have now becoming small. Or you have a positive spiral. Now you realize that you started small, but because from the envisioning stage, you envisioned well, you saw well, it's called the law of clarity. If you are sure of what you are doing, you ensure yourself against disappointment. If you are sure of what you are doing, you ensure yourself against disappointment. So
I would like to hear that again. If you...
It's called the law of clarity. If
you're sure of
what you are doing, you ensure yourself.
Wow.
Against disappointments, against all those things. So you need to make sure you're sure what you're doing. And then if the resource mobilization, if you don't get yourself involved in loans and debts right from the beginning. I ran training in this country for 3 years without an office.
Wow.
And yes, I was doing training for SNAIT. I was doing training for big-time insurance companies, doing training for... If you call to meet me, I will normally meet you in a hotel. I said, let's have breakfast. Let's talk over breakfast. Or let's have lunch. And people really felt I was a big boy. Hey, that Titi-Ofei guy. Tell you, the guy does meeting in top hotels. But it was cheaper meeting with a client at a top hotel to have lunch than keeping an office for a whole month, paying salaries, having ACs on, having all those things on, and other things, engaging people and employing people. For 3 years, I had no office, and yet I was able to become one of the topmost trainers in this country. At that time, it was myself, to me, and Albert Okran, who were, the key trainers and conference hosts in this country. And among the three, I think I was the 30th, because these guys were doing so great, But we were because of my skills in mobilizing resources at a minimal cost, I was able to progress from there and then went into division. And my ability to be able, so my human resource policy was very simple. Discover, develop, retain. So even now, if you look at Accra Business School, the guys that really run the show are very young people, and they are on top of their game. They do it well. Because young people are hungry for success, and you are also offering them the opportunity to build their CVs, Yes. So that was, when I got to division, that was how I looked at it. Discover, develop, and retain. And then from there, we moved on to supervision. I had to sharpen my leadership character. So I believe that you have to inspire people. See, instead of just inform, most people lead by informing people. They are informational leaders. They inform you. But there are only few inspirational leaders. I decided I want to be an inspirational leader. I want to do what I'm asking my staff to do. Once they see me do, they are going to do it. I want to be that big dreamer that made my dream possible so they can You know. So my supervision was more or less like, I do it, you do it with me. Let's get it done. And you see me doing it, and you have to do it with me. I then started making names. People, everybody, Titi-Ofei, this Titi-Ofei guy, this Titi-Ofei guy. But if you came to my office, if people were sweeping, I was part of the sweeping. I was part of almost everything that had to be done. And then we moved on from there to now to do re-envisioning. And then at this level of re-envisioning, you are either going to make up or make over. You see, makeup is just putting powder in your face and giving your lipstick and all those things. When it rains, you are in trouble. But makeover is a whole re-engineering. So when most people are doing makeup for their companies, is where you see they're changing the colors of the company, they are doing this and they are doing this, but they are virtually doing the same thing. If you go there, you won't find any change. You will see they even bought a new building and everything is there, but the same products, the same attitude, the same everything. That is more like rebranding. But makeover is re-engineering. It can even involve changing names, changing attitude, changing the course of direction. At one point, we did what we call re-engineering. At our rebrand, at our re-envisioning state, we did re-engineering. It was where we changed our name from Graduate School of Governance and Leadership to Accra Business School. We have felt that even though we were Graduate School of Governance and Leadership, the courses driving the school was actually the business courses. We felt that Accra is already a brand that is respected. Let's take it. We also felt that business education, we are basically a service-driven economy. And all the business departments in the universities are full. Okay, engineering departments are small, all the other departments are small. So we said, let's let people know that we are a big business school. So Accra Business School. It tells of our location and our specialty. So at our rebranding level, not our re-envisioning level, what we did was re-engineering. We did makeover, not makeup.
Interesting. If you just tuned in, you are watching Leadtionary. Our guest for today, is Bishop Titi-Ofei, sharing with us from his rich over 30 years of experience in leadership, and he's been explaining to us the 5 basic pillars under which leadership falls: vision, mission, deadlines, values, strategies, and he's been zeroing in on all the nitty-gritties you need to know about vision, from having an envisioning, provision, division, supervision, revision, and re-envisioning. But I have a question for you, though, with regards to the division and supervision bit. There's a challenge here with delegating to people. You either micromanage them or you give them the leeway to do their own thing. How do you strike a balance?
In leadership, you are either a herdsman or a shepherd. I have to just make a choice. A herdsman drives the cattle, has a stick, and drives people. Hey! And gets you to toe the line. But the shepherd leads and others follow. But what is even more important is how to centralize your leadership. You see, I believe that the best position to lead is from the center. There are those that you have to lead from the front. So when you are in the center, they are at your back. There are those you have to lead from behind. So when you are in the center, they are in front of you. There are those that you have to lead from the sides, but they must be on your left side. Because these are people that have become skillful in certain areas that you don't have those skills. So for instance, in Accra Business School, I do what I call leadership segmentation. So there are guys who have certain proficiencies that I don't have. I lead them from the left. They help me. They help me make choices. They help me move the school. They help me get things done. They are modern guys. They know what is going on. They are top IT guys. They are, they have these ideas and all those things. And then there are those on my right hand. These people know better than me. They even know how to run a university more than me. I have a fantastic vice president who is a professor, top level, well educated. He knows how to run a university more than me. He's at my right hand. Some of my board members and other things are on my right hand. I lead them from my right hand. They are my right hand men. You get it? Once you are able to have what I call the leadership by segmentation, you are not afraid to delegate responsibilities because you know, if I'm leading you from the front and you are at the back, I know what I should tell you. I will lead you with an autocratic style. I tell you what to do. If I am leading you from the back, I delegate responsibility, but I supervise. So I'm not afraid at all. See, I've trained you, and I'm delegating responsibility. I'm your coach, I'm your mentor, and you are there. If I'm leading you from the side and you're on my left side, I should offer that laissez-faire. I should believe that you have developed you to a point, you have a certain skill, and once in a while I should check on you. If I'm leading you from my right-hand side, I should be looking at you as somebody who I should be learning from. You get it? Once you are able to move your leadership into the central position and lead by segmentation, you are not afraid to delegate responsibilities because you know the strength of each person you are leading.
Interesting. So from what you're saying, every leader must understand that in dealing with his followers, he has to be segmented.
That's right.
The rule doesn't apply across.
That's right.
What then would be your advice to a follower who probably is at the bottom and doesn't want to remain there?
And that's want to remain at the bottom. Well, you see, people have different personalities, and you can't just focus on people's skills without managing their personalities. So sometimes you have to be able to, like I have different people I deal with. Your people's management skills is very, very crucial. Somebody's at the bottom, he wants to be at the bottom. You look at it and the person being at the bottom. But the person feels that from where I've come from, this bottom is the pinnacle in my family. In my family. Why do you want to push somebody? Unless the person is not delivering at that level. But if the person decides that I don't want promotion, I still am fine here, moving me to another level. It's just like somebody doing very well. Let me take Eden Hazard, doing very well in Chelsea. He was, I think, after Ronaldo and Messi. At that time, people were talking about Eden Hazard. He just moves into a new league, and that was the end of Eden Hazard. Sometimes somebody feels that, listen, I'm here, I'm playing in the Premier League, I'm fine. I don't want to be promoted. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to be the security man, and I'm good at being a security man. So let me be here and be my security man. It is only when the person not wanting to move from the bottom to the top and is causing the organization. That's why you need to have conversation. Sometimes when you feel the organization has outgrown the person, let the person leave with a package that doesn't, But there will always be difficult people to deal with in organizations. It depends on you, the leader, your skill. There are certain people you just have to let them go. There are others, you have to do everything to retain them.
Okay. Two questions in one. How do you manage the drive of your vision to the point where you don't crash the ship in a bid to get results?
So that's why I don't really like using the term drive. I like using the term motivation because there are two ways in which you can get people forward. You can either push them forward or move them forward. There are two different things. You can decide to use threat and other things and say, if this thing is not getting done, you will lose your job. If this thing is not doing that, you will lose your job. So let me talk about my audiovisual, the editor. Very fantastic guy. He knows his work, very, very knows his work. But he's not a very easy person to manage. People with those skills, he comes to work when he wants and leaves when he wants. He picks my calls when he wants. And sometimes But I think he's a fantastic person. I think anytime he decides to do the work too, he does the work very, very, very well. I lead him differently. I feel that it is his nature. I feel that anytime I want him to do something, he does it. And so I manage him differently. I have a way of dealing with him. I scarcely get angry with him. The others, I get angry with them. I have a relationship with him. I think that it's better for me to lead him that way than to lead him in other ways. So I think that motivate people, move people forward than to push people forward. At the end of the day, what is the essence of getting somebody forward with wounds and other things when you can move them forward? So deal with people on individual basis. I do it. So I'm going to do a meeting. I feel that people will have strong opinions. I feel that this meeting is going to actually affect somebody, and the topics that are going to be discussed is going to demoralize the person. I can call the person into my office and say, listen, we are going to discuss this thing, but we are doing it in a very good, with good intention. This thing will come out strongly. Your colleagues are going to speak. I want you to take it in good faith. And then we discuss that, we talk about that, and we move on. And then we have those meetings.
Interesting. Very, very impressive human resource strategies you're
Relationship is
there.
important. Relationship is important. Build relationship with almost everybody in my office. Call me daddy. They call me daddy not because they want to impress me. They call me daddy because I am more of a father to them than just a boss. And I think that I have evolved. They have helped me become better. I think that looking at different people, and I look at them and I look at how important they are to me, and I don't want to lose them. Then I decide that I have to change the way I lead in order to be able to retain this person. In doing so, I have become a better leader because you are now growing, or you are meeting different personalities. You are meeting different personalities, and you feel that, okay, I did not employ you to behave in a certain way. I employed you for a certain skill. How you behave is your choice. Okay? So your behavior may get you out of here. So somebody may have a certain skill, but may not like the person's behavior. How do you then help the person to cultivate the right set of behaviors to complement with the person's skills? So you, the leader, that's why leadership is influence. Must try to see, how do I get this person to have? So I will call it success behaviors. And I can sit you down and say, okay, we are good with this, but there are success behaviors that you need to cultivate. And sometimes I will not even touch your behavior. I'll just show you the success behaviors. And you yourself wanting to be successful will now have to go and learn these success behaviors. And I have seen people transform under my leadership. And that is what I love doing. I love to see people becoming well-behaved in addition to their skills. And I look at it and I feel, wow, this is good.
Interesting. How do you get the buy-in of the people? How do you transition from my vision to our vision?
That's a very brilliant question. First and foremost, everybody is greedy. Everybody is egoistic. You have to massage the egos of the people. Let a person feel that you are important to this vision. You are not just a hireling. You are part of the family, and you are important to this vision. That is number one. And then let the person, so you must let the person feel is important. Then number two, everybody is greedy. Let the person know the reward that is coming to you as a result of your commitment to this vision. You are getting more than you bargained for. So you see it inside here. And then probably thirdly, give the person hope. Let the person know that this is not a settling stone. This is a stepping stone. It's helping you to get to your own personal vision. But instead of asking the person to kill this, Jesus said, until a grain of seed falls down and dies, it will not grow. He didn't say that when it dies, it is buried. It has to die for it to grow. Let the person know that we are not burying your vision. We are planting your vision. So in coming here, you may not have seen your vision, but at the end of the day, it will grow. Let people see their vision within your vision and give people way out. Let people understand that you are not supposed to be here forever. If at one point you want to leave, we will let you go. And sometimes give them how they should leave. So I'll call my staff and I'll tell them that, listen, sometimes if you think that you want to move on, the work you do here, we will outsource it to you. And then you can still work for us whilst you are even out of here. You get it? And it has happened on a few occasions. And it's worked. Show people the pathway to their future in your vision. Let them understand that vision is a pathway to the future. Once they get it, I can assure you, they will walk with you. And they will know at which T-junction they have to take a turn from where you are taking. They will know. They will know that, okay, we will get here, and from here, I can move on. Those who want to hang around with you forever, show them the pathway, a career pathway. I've said to every staff at Accra Business School that every one of you can become the president of the school. So people came in with SS. We gave them scholarship to do their first degree. And then they have now completed their master's. I've just said, if you feel you have a long-term future with us, let me know. We'll sponsor you to do your PhD. And it's there. It's an open invitation to everybody. So if you feel you want to remain in academia, come over. I know young people want to work in the banks, want to work in other places. Academia is not a very attractive field for young people. And let them understand that it might not be attractive because the pay structure here is different from the banking pay structure. If you want to move on, fine. If you want to stay here, I'll give you a PhD.
If you just tuned in, you're still watching Leadtionary with our fantastic host guest today, Bishop Titi-Ofei, sharing some profound insights on leadership. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll bring you more. Stay with us.
Leadtionary 2023, live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei, every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
My name is Aluxi David. I am coming from Upper East Region, Garo Timpani. I am here to share a testimony of what I have experienced in this institution. I made my mind of going to Bible school for 3 years now. I've been applying for Bible school. Anytime I apply, I have no money to go. I applied 3 Bible school, lack of financial support. So I was in the house, and thank God, Bishop, I follow him on Facebook. So one day I was browsing through and I saw something like Joshua Leadership Residency Program. So I applied. I didn't know they would pick me. So form came and I read the form and I was happy that it was free education, free accommodation, and even they would give us stipends. So I was wondering. So I printed the letter and I showed to my friends and even some of my pastors, but they were not in agreement. That is not true. In this modern Ghana, there's no any Bible school that can give you free accommodation, free tuition, and even stipends. It's not true, so I shouldn't bother myself of going. And my parents too, they are not Christians, so they don't even know the value of becoming a pastor. So I was struggling. People discouraged me that I shouldn't go. If I get here after completion, they will ask us to pay money. So where am I going to get that money? So I was wondering, and I was asking people for clarification. But I didn't have anybody to call and find out what actually is true or not. But my spirit keep on telling me, David, go, it's free. So I told my wife encouraged me that I should go. And if I get there and it's payment, I should come back. Or if I did not come back, maybe they will find money and pay. I said, I will not have any money to pay, but I will go. If I go and it's payment, I will definitely come back. So I came. My first month, I was waiting to hear whether they will say we should pay school fees or do any other things. My first month, I didn't hear anything. Second month, I didn't hear anything. My third month, the same thing. And every week, they give us stipends for our weekly keeping. I have gotten free tuition, free accommodation, and even weekly stipends. So I am very happy to tell you that what Bishop is doing for us youth generation, for me in particular, if not Bishop, who I am to also go to Bible school, even in Accra, I don't even know yet. This is my first time of coming to Accra. I didn't know where Accra is located. I didn't know where Spintex is located. But I keep on calling the numbers that was in the letter, and I got here. So I want to thank Bishop what he has done for me. So I want to tell my people, and I want to tell the nation worldwide. So if you're looking for a Bible school, if you have the passion and the calling to become a pastor, and there's no money, you don't have money, you don't have the finances, you don't know where to go, this is your last stop. The Joshua Leadership Residency Program, it is a Bible school that if you come, your life will never be the same. Amen.
Leadtionary 2023, live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei, every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Yeah, welcome back. This is Leadtionary, and we're still continuing our great conversation with our guest for today, Bishop Titi-Ofei. You've shared so much profound information. I can't wait to listen to the tape myself. But then one thing that struck me in all that you've said, especially in dealing with human resource, was the fact that you have to understand the value people bring to the table. But you know, a lot of leaders too are somewhat insecure with that, because when people come to see how much of value they are to you, it becomes difficult to manage them sometimes. How do you deal with that?
Well, so when you say a lot of leaders, I'm not sure whether there's any statistical proof for that. So I would say, but I think that most successful leaders are successful because they know how to value the value that people bring on the table.
Okay, that was a lot.
Most, for instance, Accra Business School is successful not because of me, but it's because of the people around me and my respect for the value they bring on board. It's a biblical example of Saul not being able to kill Goliath, but offering David the opportunity to kill Goliath. Because when he saw David's CV, they are still bears and are still lions, he says, come on, go ahead and do the job. Where the problem came in was rather the people around who said, David is better than Saul. But Saul had never, in fact, when he asked David to go for war, he actually was giving him his ammo, because he wanted to protect that young man with that potential. You know, sometimes an organization, a young person will be doing well. It's rather the people around who will say, Charlie, you should leave and go and do something elsewhere, because the what you are bringing on board, you should, and go and do something elsewhere. So if there's any insecurity from where I sit, for most leaders would be the longevity. So most leaders are always looking for replacement, because they feel that when young people bring value on the table and become more valuable, their CVs are improved. They want to move into other things, you know. Having said that, there are also leaders who sometimes are intimidated by the people that come on board. And that is lack of confidence in that leader's own abilities. You get it? Lack of confidence in your own abilities. If you have confidence in your own abilities, you will never be threatened by somebody's success. So it's the leader himself that has a problem, and that's why they do not allow young people. Let me give one example. There are different chiefs in this country, but they are Santehene. So for those of you watching, Ghana has strong chieftaincy institution, but the king of the Ashantis is very well respected globally. I believe one of the reasons is that if we see how powerful the paramount chiefs of the Ashanti kingdom, see how powerful they are. You get it? So the more the people around you, the more powerful they are, the more powerful you become. You get it? So smart leaders empower people. And the more you empower people, the more respect people have for you. So for instance, in our church now, I'm the only bishop, but we have apostles. I should be working very hard to make sure that we grow so that I can get more bishops. The more bishops I have around me, the more respect, the more powerful I become. So when you empower people, you end up empowering yourself. And I think that's what most people, when you make people small around you and you don't want anybody to be like you, it reduces you. You get it? Most respected coaches are respected because they are coaching powerful players. You know what I mean? So basically, that's what I think. That should be the understanding of most leaders. And I think that the most successful leaders are people who are not afraid to empower people. For instance, I'm no longer the president of Accra Business School. I founded it. I have what it takes to lead it. I have led it. I'm a very good academic entrepreneur. All the programs, except the one from our partner institution, but every program in Accra Business School, I developed it. The MSc Accounting and Finance, which you studied, every content in it was developed by me. Yet, I'm no longer the president. I find someone who is better in terms of running an academic institution than me. I am more of an academic entrepreneur than an academician. You get it? I moved away, brought the person in, and it has opened the school bigger and better. You get it? And the reason why I can do that is because I have confidence in my own capacities and abilities. And I believe that getting somebody up will not overshadow who I am and what I've become.
Fantastic. My next question would be, how do you ensure the buy-in into the vision for the long haul?
Yes, so that's. I think I answered it by saying that create a career pathway for people who are working with you. Create a career pathway. Okay, for instance, my son is doing his PhD now, but I've told him that it's not automatic that you just come in and become a head of something. You have to work your way to the top. Other people in the organization must understand that people work their way to the top. Even my children will have to. How much more you? But create a career. Let people see the end from the beginning. Let them see that if I commit myself to this place in the next 10 years, 15 years, this is where I will be. But if one person sits at one place, 5 years, 10 years, the same thing, nothing is happening. The person doesn't see the organization moving on and doing other things. The person now begins to have a sense of insecurity. If all power is centralized around you, the leader, and you make any decision, you can decide to sack somebody tomorrow and other things, people begin to have a sense of insecurity. So decentralize power. Make people powerful. Let people find security in the institution, not in you. You understand? Submit yourself to the regulations of the institution. You see, take away. Leadership is not ownership. The prodigal son thought that leadership is ownership. So he asked the father, give me everything that is mine. Give my share of the estate. And it was given to him, but he could not lead. The fact that something belongs to you does not mean, the fact that you own something does not mean you can lead it. So don't even let people feel that you are the owner of the thing. Let people take over. Let people work with you, and that is where people can now find, okay, I find security here and I want to be here. I find a family here. I want to be here. Some people will work along with you not because of the pay, but because of the love, the respect, and the career security that they have.
So if I understood what you're saying, you're basically saying that give people a clear picture of what the vision is.
You're saying it better.
State clearly, establish clearly what the growth trajectory is, give them the security, and every reasonable person should be willing to go all the way with you.
I agree with you. I should be interviewing you.
Final question.
Yeah.
How then now do you manage that, when you manage the situation where people now have to leave despite all of this?
But so it depends on how people leave. Definitely, people will leave. You would have people that Jonathan left his father and supported David when he saw the better opportunity. So people will definitely leave. I've said to my staff, when you have opportunity that is better than what you have here, don't say loyalty is keeping you here. I want you to become 10 times better than me.
That's a very daring statement.
Yeah, I tell them all the time in our offices, but make sure you give me enough notice. Make sure I find your replacement. Make sure you prepare someone to take over. So there's this very gentleman's ethical agreement with my staff. There are people who leave, and I tell them, okay, whilst you are away, whilst you are leaving, can you still work with us on part-time basis until we are able? And then I'll say, okay, I'll pay you half of your salary. Still work from where you are. You are still a young person. Earn extra money from here. And I've had people who have left, who are still working on part-time basis with us. The relationship is strong. Nothing. Just give people an outlet. Just let people know that you are not in prison. This employment is not a prison. This employment is offering you the opportunity to develop yourself, leave an indelible mark here, and move on to your next place you are going. That is it. Don't be afraid to lose people. Never. Don't be afraid to lose people. When you are afraid to lose people, you cage them. You cage them. And when your organization is growing and you can afford, always make sure that jobs are done, specialized areas of jobs are not done by just a person, but a group of people. And all the time somebody can just step in.
You've just blown me away.
And I'm sharing this based on 30 years of experience. This is not just something that I read from a book or something. It's something I've practiced. Okay. There is a law I call the law of legitimacy. You cannot speak on what you have not successfully practiced. You cannot speak on the successful practice. So everything I'm sharing with you are things I've practiced over the years. And these guys around here who are shooting are people who work with me. And they know what I'm talking about. My staff will watch this and they know what I'm talking about. They know that this is how we have practiced over the years. And that is why we are where we are. We started from nowhere, but we have become one of them. I mean, you studied with us. You saw the quality. You've seen the organization. You see, we are not a perfect organization, but we are better than some of some people making noise. We are a lion, so we roar. But dogs really bark in the night, not because of it. We roar because we are announcing our presence. But dogs bark because they are afraid.
Okay, so final submission from you, from every leader out there who's listening to you, who is trying to figure out what their vision is, who's trying to figure out if this leadership thing is actually for them. What's your advice?
I think that take from your mind whatever is in your mind that you are thinking about. Take it off your mind. Write it down. Give yourself time. Give yourself time. Write it down. Draw your head. That's what I did. Just draw your head. And put everything you are thinking about in the head. And then after that, Give them percentage in terms of the attention that it takes. I did it years ago. And when I finished, I realized that there was 2% that I had not assigned to anything. As I was thinking about it, I remembered that it was God. That I was so busy thinking about how to build my dream and my vision, and I've let God out. That's where confusion begins. So you know what I did? I took everything out of my mind and put God in the center of it. I said, okay, God, now you're in my mind. Let's go. God, the faith factor, the God factor, the Christ factor is crucial for your success. For me, that's what has helped me. I got born again at the age of 14. Gave my life to Jesus. And it has just been Jesus. Jesus. Everything I'm sharing with you here is an inspiration from the Lord Jesus. I believe that Jesus lives in us through the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit really inspires us and gives us a lot of thoughts and ideas. When you build a very close relationship, when I sit down, for instance, when I sit in the lecture hall and you are lecturing, every single statement you make is amplified in my mind. It's amplified in my mind. I have done an examination where the lecturer looked at my paper that I presented and invited me and asked me, where have you come from? Have you done this course elsewhere before? And, you know, those kind of things. The Holy Ghost is an amazing spirit. But you see, when you accept Christ Jesus, God comes to live within you in the person of the Holy Spirit. And allow it and teaches you a lot. I have fortunately been, by the grace of God, studied in different countries. Studied in Germany, studied in France, I've studied in England, in best universities. But my best school is when I'm alone with the Lord in prayer and the Holy Spirit is speaking to me. You know, my best days is dawn when I'm awake and I'm praying and I'm writing down and I'm typing in things and the joy of the Lord is, you know. So I will recommend to everyone who is watching us today that Jesus is the answer to most leadership challenges. But above all, accept him as your Lord and personal Savior. Walk with him. He will help you. Everything I've shared here, inspired by the Holy Spirit.
It's interesting how you suddenly put on your clerical. But anyway, viewers, that's all time will allow us for today's edition of Leadtionary with our amazing and fantastic guest for today, Bishop Titi-Ofei. I think I'd have to come back because we've only done one out of the 5 pillars that you've spoken about. So I am proposing we serialize this and inform the people so we can all drink from your over 30 years experience as a leader. Thank you so much. All right, viewers, that'll be all for today. My name is Michael Obodu. Let's connect on Twitter at @mobodu. It's bye-bye from here.
Leadtionary 2023, live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei, every Thursday at 1900 GMT.